is our magnificent Agape House band, and this is you listening with your entire being, hearing without ears and seeing without eyes. That is, hearing with consciousness, that which produced the eye and that which produced the ear. In other words, you do not see because you have eyes because you see. You do not hear because you have ears because you hear. Consciousness always precedes form. And so therefore, you are making yourself available with your conscious awareness that you're here to grow, develop, and unfold to your greater yet to be, so that you can hear what comes under the tongue, even which is more important than that which comes over the tongue. This month, we're dealing with the theme of deep rest. And we're coming to an understanding of there's two levels of this resting. One, we're seeking to rest from busyness. We're seeking to rest from worry and doubt and fear. We're seeking to rest from the surface mind's wantingness. And that is, we're resting from the over busyness that we often get into, which is oftentimes mistaken for creativity, mistaken for generosity, mistaken for allowing the great spiritual ideas that are coursing through us to be manifested. Busyness is not creativity. There is the business of God, which is to reflect and to reveal the fundamental order and harmony of the universe. And then there's busyness, which oftentimes is simply a way of self-medicating ourselves from the worry, the doubt, and the fear. So we're resting from busyness so that we can take time to take care. We can take time to take care of ourselves in a way that allows for the fullness of the Spirit to move through us. We're resting from worry and doubt and fear, which has been normalized by a society that is overflowing with so many things to be worried about that you have a tendency to think that worrying is your job. No, it is not. Worrying is not your job, just in the same way you don't want to worry about your children. You want to love your children. And when you love your children, you discover that worry and love are two different frequencies. And in the vibration of loving your loved ones and loving your children and loving your friends and loving those that you are concerned about, you're in a higher frequency that allows you to act appropriately moment by moment by moment, because you are receptive to the transformative wisdom, creative intelligence, unconditional love that's flowing through you and not blocked by worry. You're resting from the surface mind wantingness, which is the egoic perception of all the things you want in order for you to be happy. And you're resting from wantingness so that you can be in tune with your soul's desire to unfold. So you're surrendering to the realm of ever-expanding good, surrendering to what is called heaven, surrendering to God, allowing that to be where you're living from. And then the added things of what your legitimate needs are in this particular realm begins to happen with more grace and ease, rather than you're forcing something into manifestation from surface mind's wantingness. You're resting from that until we indicated last week, what we indicated last week in quoting St. Augustine and paraphrasing him today, that I shall not rest until I rest in thee, O Lord. I shall not rest until I rest in the ever-expanding, unfolding, infinite good of the presence of God. I shall not rest until I am resting in the unfoldment and the activation of my potential. I hear Jesus the Christ saying in substance that foxes have holes and birds have nests, but there's no place for the Son of Man to lay his head. Meaning that the foxes and the birds can rest at whatever stage of evolution they're in at this particular moment, but we shall not rest until we're resting in the conscious participation in our own unfolding. There's no place to lay our head, so to speak, so that we're involved every single day with embracing the next great vision and version of ourself. Not busyness, but God's business, which is to reflect and to reveal the infinite according to our pattern. So we're resting in a flow of activation of potential. And as we're surrendering to that, we come under the law of grace, and we're creating the condition for grace, which is receptivity to the givenness and the givingness of the Spirit. You do not have to cajole the Spirit. You don't have to cajole or beg God for anything, for the presence of God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. God is always God. God is always being itself. God is always radiating and giving of itself. You don't have to pray for the sun to shine. The sun is always shining, even if there are clouds being present in that particular moment. You just have to step into the bright sunshine and receive the vitamin D from the sun. You have to just step into the realm of ever-expanding good and receive the vitamin divine from the presence of God. So you're not begging or cajoling. You're being receptive by participating in the unfolding, resting in the divine. And so with that awareness, we become aware that spiritual awareness or revelation is not acquired. It's it's a revelation. It's not something you can acquire. It's self-revealing as you wake up. I want you to catch what that means there, that you cannot acquire ever-expanding consciousness. It's not something you can memorize and acquire it, like you can go acquire a bicycle or a car or something like that. Spiritual truth is self-revealing when the obstacles are removed. In other words, as the topic would indicate today, you got to clean up your dirty mind. I just liked that topic. Spiritual growth is self-revealing. So you're in the process of removing the obscurations from the mind, and so that which is already there can reveal itself, which is why we teach in the meditation class that you're not putting enlightenment into the future. You're not trying to be enlightened one day. You're starting with the awareness that enlightenment is already here. You're just removing the obscurations, removing the hindrances, just removing the obstructions from your perception so that you can begin to see that which is already here. There's a beautiful image and likeness of God. I'm not talking about a form. There's a beautiful image and likeness of God. There's a beautiful presence that is already here, and it's covered up by perception, beliefs, limiting beliefs. It's covered up by superstitions. It's covered up by old religions. It's covered up by miseducation. It's covered up, you see. And so we're cleaning up the dirtiness of the mind so that which is already here can be revealed. It's a revelation, not something that can be acquired. And so we're cleaning up the mind from one, stop arguing for your limitations. Stop arguing for your limitations. Notice in your conversations throughout the course of the day, when you have with your friends, your people, even with yourself, notice that you might be arguing for your limitations, constantly talking about what is not possible in your life, constantly talking about, who you are not, constantly talking about what's going wrong. Stop using all of that energy. Clean up your dirty mind. Stop arguing for your limitations. Now, what do I mean by this? Reverend Jason Davion Mitchell and I were talking about this earlier in the week at the gymnasium. We talk about this kind of stuff at the gymnasium. And we were talking about the fact that when, in fact, you have a particular cut on your hand, and it's bleeding, you accidentally cut yourself or whatever the case may be, you can't really heal your hand, but you can keep the dirt out of it. And once you clean it up, then the intelligence of the body temple will go on its healing trek, and it will begin to heal itself. Your job is to keep it clean, keep the wound clean, maybe cover it up with the Band-Aid or whatever the case may be, but the inner process of the intelligence of the presence of God operating through the body temple will do the healing. You want to clean up your dirty mind. And so you want to stop arguing for your limitations as a part of that process. And notice that whenever you're in an argument for your limitation, you want to shift the argument and begin to have the winning argument that the power and the presence and the love of God is for you. You want to begin to have the winning argument that everything is working together for your good. You want to have the winning argument that right where you are, God is. You want to have the winning argument that all of life is seeking to rush through you, regardless of the present condition that you may be facing, because that present condition is facing the infinite within you. You want to argue yourself into the truth. Clean up your dirty mind and allow for the self-revelation to begin to take place in your awareness. 2, you want to come to an awareness that speaking without thinking is not the same as speaking the truth. Oftentimes people just run off at the mouth without thinking. They just say all kinds of things just to fill up the space. Stop it. Just speaking without thinking don't mistake that for speaking the truth. Sometimes you want to just stop. And instead of being recognized as a fool, just stop and listen and just breathe and see what the mind was getting ready to say. See what the surface mind was getting ready to say. It was just getting ready to say anything just to fill up the space. Stop. Don't mistake speaking without thinking for speaking the truth. And just breathe until the Spirit speaks, until there's a self-revelation, until there's an insight. Sometimes there's nothing to say, and that's okay. That's okay, because you don't want the crud and the dust and the grit to speak. Now, we're not talking about you not venting to your spiritual practitioner or to someone that can hold your counsel. I'm not talking about that. Sometimes you just need to just vent it and get it out. You see, somebody that's big enough to hold the space without taking you seriously. You see. But to argue for your limitations and to speak without thinking on the regular is to keep you in a very small perception, you see. So as you are receiving this and taking a breath right now, the other thing you want to begin to eliminate as you clean up your dirty mind, you want to begin to eliminate the habit of what is called backhanded compliments. In other words, you'll say, oh my God, she has a beautiful dress on. Oh, I don't like them shoes though. Or so-and-so is really cool at this, but I really don't like that. It's like you can't fully appreciate people without putting them down at the same time. It's like there's something within the mind, something within the sense of unworthiness that will not allow an individual to fully appreciate another being. They can't do it because it means that if they fully appreciate someone else, there might be some diminishment in their own consciousness. And so they have to make sure that they find something wrong with that person, something wrong with her, something wrong with him. So you want to begin to let go of what is called the backhanded compliments. Oh, they can really do this really well, but did you hear about this? You see, no. Because all you're doing is reflecting and revealing your own darkness, your own inability to embrace the light in another, your own unhealed areas of your own consciousness. You want to clean up the dirty mind. You want to clean up the sense of separation. You want to clean up the dust that just spins out of your mouth and your awareness on a regular basis. Now, if in fact you begin to rest in the flow of activating potential, as you begin to rest from busyness and pretending that it's creativity, as you begin to rest from worry and doubt and fear, as you begin to rest, and this is practice. This is not like, willpower. This is coming to an expanded awareness of one, through prayer and meditation, that you are awareness itself. And that you begin to develop a field of gratitude and thanksgiving, a field of love, a field of peace. This is the background. There's something called the background, and then there's the foreground of that which is passing through. And what happens is, when we're not in spiritual practice, we get caught in that which is passing through, and we begin to identify with it, forgetting that it's passing through a background. It's passing through an awareness. Now, your prayer and your spiritual practice allows you to become more and more identified with the awareness of which everything is passing through. So then what does that provide for you? It provides for you what is called choice. So when you see that which is passing through, you can choose to identify with it, or you can choose to watch it go by. This too shall pass. This worry, this doubt, this fear shall pass. I don't have to attach myself to it. I don't have to allow it to take over my mind. I don't have to allow it to take over my mouth. I am the field of awareness of a dynamic love, an infinite peace, a pure joy. This is what I am. I am the very image and the very likeness of God. I am the substance of ultimate reality. This is not puffery. Is that a word? It is now. It is not puffery. It is not tapping the ego and saying, you're all that. It is saying that the presence and the power and the love and the life of God, I am an emanation of this, and I am activating my consciousness of choosing. Choose ye this day. God or fear, God or worry, God or mammon, God or separation, God or there is no or, there's only a condensation of perception, because God is everywhere. God is everywhere, even though there may be lesser frequencies of it. It's all God. When you expand and go beyond the pair of opposites, the polarity dimension, everything is the presence of God all the time, everywhere. You want to stand in it because it is standing in you. And so you will open up and allow for the miraculous to take place in your life. That which is nonlinear, that which is happening everywhere, now becomes the activity of your awareness. Stop arguing against yourself. Stop limiting yourself. Now, we know what has been normalized. We know that it is these things that I am describing are normal in human consciousness, meaning they're regular activity. You see, we know that. But we want you to hear these words. Come out from among them. Come out from among that which appears to be normal. Separate yourself from that which appears to be normal. The virus of the mind is a greater virus than coronavirus. It's a greater virus than all the viruses you hear about. The virus of the mind, the dirty mind, the lies and the arguments against ourselves, and the resting in fear, that virus is what keeps you susceptible to the contagion of emotions that move through society of the sleepwalkers. Those who are sleeping to their divinity, or who are putting their eternality or divinity to somewhere in the future. One day I'm going to die, and I'm going to go to the eternal life. I'm going to go to heaven. I'm going to go. There's no place to go. Everything is here and now. That's a figment of imagination. It's the misuse of your imagination. All here now. All of the power, all of the presence, all of the love, all of the joy, all of the wisdom, all of the abundance, all of the beauty, it's all here right now if you can but see it. Your prayer, your meditation, your visioning, your sacred service, your study, your fellowship is breaking down the barriers so that you can see. Behold, I make all things new. So that you can see the realm of ever-expanding good is right here and right now. This past week, we had Trish Waddell as a guest speaker in our meditation class, and she was sharing about one of the moments in her life that pulled her into spiritual practice. She sat down to practice meditation, and suddenly this carpet became alive. And everything in the carpet was alive. All the designs were spinning around, and everything in her room was alive. It was no longer inert. It was no longer a dead picture on things. Everything was alive. And she could see this aliveness in everything. And that kick-started her spiritual practice, and she was desperately trying to make everything come alive again. But ultimately, it moved her into a level of practice, of meditation, and developing a level of spiritual fortitude that carried her to ultimately being a practitioner of these spiritual practices. In other words, she caught and saw the presence everywhere. The confusion of the mind and the sense of separation dissolved, and she could see that God, the presence of love and beauty and life, is and was everywhere. You are destined for this moment, but you must participate. What are we doing? We are resting from busyness. We're resting from worry, doubt, and fear. We are resting in the evolutionary impulse, which is God, that covers all creation, you see. So that we can clean up our dirty mind from all that fear porn, Reverend Julie, all that worry pornography, all that doubt pornography, all that fear pornography that's become so prevalent in our society. And as I said in the early morning way of meditation service, the greatest gift that you can give the planet, the greatest gift that you can give the world is your surrender to this presence and your intention to wake up to it. As you give this gift, your vibrational frequency comes into an alignment with the fundamental harmony of the universe, and you change the world, because the world is the world of appearances, of the condensation of previously held thoughts and beliefs and superstitions emanating from a sense of separation from the presence of God that have been locked and loaded within a linear domain, cutting off the nonlinear domain. And when you surrender to the presence in this way, you open yourself to the nonlinear domain. It activates something within you, and you begin to live in the higher frequency while you have an incarnation, not waiting to go there in the future, but while you have an incarnation, bringing heaven to earth. And then the wantingness of the ego dissolves, but through grace, your needs are answered. I'm talking prosperity, yes. Health, yes. Wisdom, yes. Transformational knowledge, yes. Wisdom, guidance in a language you can weigh and understand, yes, because you're not blocking it. Do you understand? You got to catch this point. You got to catch this. You don't have to pray to God for it, guidance and wisdom. God's already giving it. But are you listening? Now, if you're in worry, doubt, and fear, you're blocking it. You're blocking the flow. But if you stand still and see the salvation, you stand still and embrace the self-elevation, you shall see the Lord, the great law of life, operating or revealing itself in your life. Clean up your dirty mind. You can't acquire. Truth is revealed. It's caught. Wow. Wow. It's always been here. Ooh, that's why we call it coming home. It feels like, I'm coming home to myself. Oh, I've been in the far country, but I'm coming home to myself. It's here all the time. It's right here. Where have I been? Where have I been? What thinkingness has caught my mind? What fear has hijacked my mind? What doubt has hijacked my mind? Oh, I'm coming home. I'm home. I'm home. I'm home. I'm home. I'm home. Think of a moment in your life right now where you have felt so at home, so at peace, so in love, so in joy, so in abundance. Just contemplate such a moment. There is no law against you contemplating such a moment, even if the conditions do not reflect that. This is the right use of the law, to contemplate home, peace, love, harmony, abundance, joy, health, regardless of conditions. Contemplate it now. This becomes the fabric of your being. Everything else is passing through, but you're choosing God, love. Conditions then change. Many times better than what you are imagining. And you have stepped into the bright sunshine of your own being, the presence of God as you. These are the basics and the fundamentals that we said we would start off with this year. Feel into this right now. Deep rest from busyness, from worry. Deep rest, deep rest, deep rest. Resting in the flow of activated potential, unfoldment, cleaning up our mind so that the healing process, which is a revelation, can happen because the dirt of confusion and fear is being kept out so that you can see like you have never seen before. Oh, come with me. Come with me into the realm of ever-expanding good. Come up with me now into the vibration of celebration. Come up with me now into the feeling tone of thanksgiving. Come up with me now into the feeling tone of oneness with God. Come on, don't argue for your limitation right now. Don't argue for your limitation based on a temporary condition. Don't do it. Win the argument. Life is here. God is here. Love is here. Peace is here. It's right here, right now. Open mine eyes that I may see. Have the winning argument. Come with me into the land of prayer right now. Not begging. Not beseeching a reluctant deity that you have to convince. No. That's an old paradigm. We are praying and coming into communion with the isness and the nowness of the presence. Come with me into this land of prayer. Come with me into the field of gratitude. Oh, thank you for hearing me always. Meaning, I give thanks that my vibration is always matched. There's a vibrational match in my vibration of gratitude and thanksgiving and appreciation. There is a match here. I'm so grateful, I'm so thankful, I'm so appreciative that my spiritual astigmatism is being healed right now. The cognitive deficiency is being healed right now, and I can see as I am seen. Humanity suffers from a cognitive deficiency. They can only see appearances. But today we're rising up and saying in substance, oh, let me see with new eyes. Let me see. And in this consciousness of that which created sight itself, consciousness of God, we see like we have never seen before. Oh, infinite Spirit, great God of the universe, Mother, Father, God, God Almighty, God all beauty, God all joy, God all that there is. How great thou art. How wonderful it is to be awake, aware, and alive. How grateful I am that I exist in this consciousness of gratitude and my sense of oneness with the power and the presence and the love of God. Not a man in the sky, but a presence that is everywhere. I speak the word of vibrational frequency of wholeness for each and every one of us, because there's only one of us here, so I'm connected to each and every being, and each and every being is connected to each and every being, and each and every being is connected to each and every being, and we have the whole world in our vibrational hands, and as we're lifted up in this rarefied atmosphere of absolute truth, right action is occurring. As we're lifted up in this rarefied atmosphere of absolute truth, there's a healing going on, a revelation of truth happening. As we're touching the realm of ever-expanding good, something wonderful is happening. And we're no longer fighting against it. We're embracing it. We're embracing it. I speak the word. That every organ, action, and function of our body temple is made every whit whole. I speak the word that all of our needs are met. I speak the word that there is a clarity that allows us to catch the inspiration from on high, that higher frequency. So when we hear that we're able to live by the every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God, and with the awareness that God does not have a mouth, we're able to live from inspiration, divine spiritual ideas cascading from the spiritual realm of the presence, moving through us right now. Oh, just feel right now that everything is working together for our good. Feel that everything is working together for our good. Feel that everything is working together for our good. Feel that everything is working together for your good. Feel that everything is working together for your good. It's a feeling that's revealing the healing of your life. And we dismiss everything else. For all that there is God. Oh, come into the higher frequency. Come into the higher frequency. Come on, upstairs, as Dr. Homer Johnson used to say, come on. Feel it. Woo! Jackie Simone, help them feel it. Help them feel it. We have some people to pray for. Help them feel it.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there that was meant to be, with God as our power, loved ones all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Ooh, let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
As we keep the outer eye closed but open the inner eye, we feel that dynamic peace that passes human understanding activated within us right now. We allow for our awareness to be so expanded that as we're lifted up, we draw all beings into this higher frequency.